Welcome to the Wandering Neuron. Tonight, I invite you to drift with me. Beyond stars, beyond time, beyond the edges of thought. We'll ask a question that has lingered since minds began to wonder. What if the universe has no end? Close your eyes and let your breath settle. Imagine the quiet hum between galaxies. The silence older than light itself. Here in this stillness, there are no borders, no fences of understanding, only the slow unfolding of infinity. When we gaze at the night sky, we see billions of suns scattered like dust on black velvet. Each point of light a whisper from the past, some so ancient their worlds may already be gone. Yet their light still travels, still reaches us, as if eternity itself refuses to stop speaking. We often ask, where does it all end? But perhaps the deeper question is, does it need to? Does infinity frighten us because it cannot be held, or comfort us because it means we'll never fall off the edge of existence? So tonight, let's float, not to reach an answer, but to feel the vastness, to wander the infinite and find calm in the endless. Since childhood, we've built fences around our imagination. We draw maps, make borders, name the stars, and mark the end of what we can see. We are creatures of boundaries. Our minds crave closure, a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the universe, vast and indifferent, does not seem to care about our maps. The cosmos stretches in all directions, not like a room with walls, but like an ocean that folds back on itself. We once imagined the world as flat. Sailing too far would make you fall into nothingness. Then we learned the earth was round, and the edge was only the illusion of our limited view. What if the same is true for the universe? What if the cosmos curves back upon itself, so that traveling forever would only bring you home again? Not because it ends, but because infinity can bend without breaking. It's strange. We long to understand infinity, but the thought of something endless unsettles us. We want to know the edges of the sky, to touch the borders of creation. But maybe the infinite has no borders, and maybe that's the most peaceful truth of all. So breathe. Imagine yourself drifting through that boundless space. No gravity, no noise, no end. Just the gentle pulse of existence, a heartbeat, echoing through nothingness. Modern cosmology tells us something both humbling and magnificent. The universe might not have an edge at all. Space could be finite, yet unbounded. Like the surface of a sphere. You can travel endlessly without finding an end, yet it's truly not infinite. Imagine an ant crawling around a globe. To the ant, there's no wall, no border, yet the world it walks on is closed, continuous. Perhaps our universe is like that, a 3D version of the same curve. A cosmic loop without walls. Then again, it might be truly infinite, stretching without repetition. A cosmic sea that never folds, where galaxies drift forever into deeper darkness. And maybe both are true in their own way, because infinity might not be a distance, it could be a quality of being. something not measured in light years, but in depth of existence. If you've ever looked at the stars and felt your heart ache with wonder, you've already touched infinity, not through numbers, but through awe. And that's what we explore tonight. Not the edges of the universe, but the way infinity feels when it looks back through us.
Every story we tell has a beginning, the first word, the first breath, the first spark of light. We are creatures who think in sequences. We live through time like travelers walking a road, marking our steps, counting our days. But what if this way of seeing the world is only half the truth? When cosmologists speak of the Big Bang, we imagine an explosion, a single moment when nothing became everything, a divine flash, a beginning so pure it gave birth to time itself. But there's another way to see it. What if the Big Bang wasn't the start, but just a transition? A moment in an eternal breathing of the cosmos, expanding, contracting, pulsing in endless rhythm. Maybe the universe is not a line that begins and ends, but a circle, a cosmic inhale and exhale, forever unfolding itself, forever returning home. When you close your eyes and listen to your own heartbeat, you are hearing a smaller echo of that rhythm, the microcosm inside the macrocosm. Your pulse, the star's birth and death, the cycle of galaxies, all moving to the same invisible music. So when you ask when did it all begin, perhaps the universe gently smiles back and whispers, it never did. It was always here, in one form or another, just like the quiet font behind your eyes that never truly stops, only shifts its shape. Time feels like motion, a current that carries us forward, never backward, always onward. We measure it with clocks, divided into hours, minutes, a steady rhythm we pretend to control. But in truth, time is like a river without banks, flowing not through us, but as us. Imagine this. From the universe's point of view, there is no past, no future, only an eternal now. Every moment that has ever existed still exists, just at a different coordinate in space-time. Einstein once said, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." That illusion comforts us because it allows us to tell stories, to believe we move from birth to death, from light to dark. But what if everything is happening all at once? Every breath you've ever taken, every dream you've yet to dream, all still there, ripples in a timeless sea. So when you drift to sleep tonight, remember, you're not falling away from time, you're sinking deeper into it. You are not leaving the moment, you are the moment. And the river never ends. Infinity sounds cold at first, an endless void, a thought too large to fit inside the human heart. But stay with it. Let it soften. Infinity isn't emptiness, it's fullness beyond measure. It's the realization that nothing is ever truly lost because there is no a way for it to go. When a star dies, its light travels forever. When you think, your thoughts ripple through existence, woven into the silent network of being. Maybe that's what eternity means, not living forever, but existing so completely that you leave no corner of yourself untouched. So the universe without end is not a horror to fear, but a cradle without walls, a space so vast it holds even your forgetting, your silence, your sleep. As your eyes close, you return to it, not as a lost traveler, but as a drop returning to the ocean. You are always part of the infinite. You only needed to remember. Somewhere between silence and thought, between heartbeat and idea, there is a mirror. And in that mirror, the universe sees itself. For billions of years, the cosmos expanded in darkness. Stars were born, galaxies collided, planets cooled under quiet skies. And then somewhere, A creature opened its eyes and wondered. That moment, a mind looking at the stars and asking why, was the universe becoming aware of itself. Consciousness is not separate from the cosmos. It is its reflection, its inward gaze. When you think of infinity, you are infinity thinking of itself. When you feel awe, you are the vastness remembering its own depth. Scientists still cannot explain what consciousness is. They can trace brain signals, observe neurons firing, but not the spark that turns light into experience. Maybe that spark isn't local at all. Maybe it's woven into the structure of existence itself, a fundamental rhythm, like gravity or light. If that's true, then your mind is not a small thing lost in a big universe. It is the universe, briefly folding itself into thought, just to see what thinking feels like. And when you rest, the cosmos rests with you.
We look outward to find meaning, but perhaps the true infinity lies inward. Your body is a constellation of atoms forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Each breath you take contains molecules once carried by distant worlds. You're not just in the universe, you are the universe, momentarily shaped into human form. Close your eyes for a moment. Behind those lids is a space larger than the sky. Thoughts drift like galaxies. Memories appear and vanish like stars flickering out. Ideas expand faster than light. Impossible distances bridged in an instant of awareness. If we could map the inner landscape of the mind, we might see something strangely familiar. Patterns that echo the cosmic web, neural constellations resembling galaxies, energy flowing in electric rivers, just like matter through the void. So maybe the universe does not live out there. Maybe it lives inside each observer, reborn through every act of perception. When you imagine infinity, it's not a guess, it's a memory, because infinity is the soil from which your consciousness grew. And perhaps that's why we can never truly feel alone, because no matter how far you travel inward, you still find stars. Every night you fall into a universe of your own creation. Dreams, worlds without physics, landscapes shaped by emotion rather than law. Inside a dream, distance is meaningless. Time dissolves, and you can travel from childhood to eternity in a single thought. Maybe dreams are not a trick of the brain, but a hint, a nightly rehearsal for infinity. When we dream, we drift beyond logic, beyond the boundaries of self. Our minds expand into something vaster, something that does not need to end. In dreams, we dissolve, and for a few timeless moments, we are like the cosmos before it learned to count its own stars. Perhaps the reason dreams feel so familiar is that they remind us of what we already are: formless awareness, endless potential, light without edge. When you wake, you bring fragments of infinity back with you, a strange image, a whisper of impossible color. And though you may forget it by morning, it lingers, proof that even within the smallest mind, there is no true border. The universe, it seems, dreams through us. In physics, everything begins with energy, the restless hum of existence itself. But science, for all its equations and telescopes, cannot yet answer the oldest question of all. Why is there something rather than nothing? The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in space, it was an expansion of space. A point not in the void, but the void becoming a point. Time, space, energy, matter, all unfurled together. In the beginning, there was no before. Time itself began at that moment. As Stephen Hawking said, asking what happened before the Big Bang is like asking what's north of the North Pole. Yet even that may not be the whole story. Some cosmologists believe our universe may have emerged from quantum fluctuations in a timeless vacuum, tiny fields of energy constantly bubbling, collapsing, and occasionally igniting entire realities. Others suggest a multiverse, a grand cosmic foam where countless universes bloom and fade like bubbles, each with its own laws, constants, and forms of existence. If that's true, then perhaps our universe isn't unique, but one thread in an endless tapestry. And the question, why does something exist, becomes softer, less sharp,
like a wave asking why the ocean is wet. Because maybe nothing was never real. Maybe existence is the ground state, the default mode of reality. Perhaps the universe simply is because non-existence was never an option. When we look back in time, we see the faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, the afterlight of the Big Bang, still shimmering across the universe after nearly 14 billion years. It tells us that space is expanding, that galaxies are drifting farther apart, carried by the quiet acceleration of dark energy. If expansion continues forever, our universe faces a fate known as the heat death, a time when stars burn out, black holes evaporate, and energy spreads too thin to form anything new. An eternal stillness, a final whisper of light. But not all theories end in silence. In some models, the universe could one day slow, contract, and collapse into itself, a big crunch that births another expansion, another cosmic dawn, an infinite cycle, death giving birth to creation forever and ever. And then there are quantum ideas suggesting that even in the farthest future, new universes might bud from the old, pockets of space-time reborn through quantum fluctuations. In this view, eternity stretches both ways, backward and forward. There was no first universe, and there will be no last. If this is true, then our universe is a single verse in an endless cosmic poem, and we, as fleeting as we are part of its rhyme.
Science gives us tools to measure the cosmos, to count galaxies, trace gravity, and model the fate of all things. Yet even the greatest discoveries only deepen the mystery.
The universe may be finite but unbounded, curved upon itself like a higher dimensional sphere. Or it may be infinite, a vast, flat expanse where galaxies drift endlessly apart. Both ideas are equally humbling. Perhaps that's the point. The value of the question is not in finding an answer, but in the act of wondering itself. Infinity, in the end, isn't a mathematical concept, it's an emotional truth. It reminds us that understanding will always remain incomplete, and that's what keeps curiosity alive. Maybe the universe's greatest secret is that there are no final secrets, only layers upon layers of discovery, each leading deeper into awe. So, if the universe truly has no end, then every step you take, every thought you have, is part of its unfolding. And that's beautiful. Because in a cosmos without borders, your wonder is the frontier. If the universe has no end, then perhaps nothing within it is ever truly separate. The same equations that describe the orbit of planets also govern the trembling of electrons in your cells. The same constants that shaped galaxies shape the spark behind your eyes. Every atom in your body was born inside a dying star, forged in pressure, scattered in supernovae, drifting for billions of years before joining to become you. When you lift your hand, you are moving the dust of ancient suns. When you speak, the air you breathe once passed through forests long before humanity existed. And when you think, your neurons echo the electric dance of the cosmos itself. Physics calls it symmetry, patterns that repeat at every scale, the universe reflecting itself endlessly. From the spiral of a galaxy to the swirl of a seashell, to the curve of a fingerprint, the same geometry hums beneath it all. Perhaps there was never a boundary between you and the universe, only the illusion of distance, a trick of perspective. When the edges dissolve, what remains is unity. Everything touching everything, forever and always, without beginning, without end. We are temporary beings, and yet we carry eternity inside us. Our lives move between limits, the short span of years, the fragile boundaries of flesh, but our thoughts stretch across light years. Our imagination outruns the galaxies themselves. That is our strange gift,
to live as finite creatures while glimpsing the infinite. When you think about the cosmos, you are doing something remarkable. You are transcending the limits of your own existence. In that moment, your mind becomes as vast as the thing it's describing. Maybe that's why we keep asking questions we know can't be fully answered. It's not about the answers, it's about the transformation that happens when we ask them. Each time we wonder what lies beyond, we stretch a little further, our awareness widening, our empathy deepening. The infinite becomes human, and the human becomes infinite. The bridge between them is wonder itself. So, what if the universe has no end? Then the night sky above you is not a ceiling. It's an open door. Every star, every whisper of light is an invitation to remember that you were never confined, never small, never apart. If there is no edge, then every point in existence is the center. And that means you, right now, wherever you are standing at the very heart of everything. The galaxies drift, the atoms hum, the light travels endlessly. And through all of it, awareness persists, quietly watching, quietly being. That awareness, that still presence inside you, is the same silence that filled the cosmos before the first star was born. So let the question remain open. Let it echo. Because sometimes the beauty of a question is that it never has to end, just like the universe itself. And as you drift towards sleep, let this thought settle softly in your mind. You are not lost in the infinite. You are the infinite, dreaming of being human for a while.